This episode is one of my all-time favorites because I'm joined by none other than Amy Porterfield. We're talking about how to move your audience from follower to buyer, and email is the secret weapon. Amy shares so many powerful insights about list building, storytelling, and just staying consistent, especially when you feel like your list is too small to matter. If you've wondered what to say in your emails or how to actually turn email subscribers into buying customers, this is your episode. Let's dive in.
Welcome to the Launch Your Box podcast with weekly tips, tricks, and strategies to start, launch, and grow your subscription box. Now, here's your host, Sarah Williams.
Welcome back to the Launch Your Box podcast. Y'all, I have been waiting years for this interview right here. She has no idea. I'm going to tell her, but I have been waiting years. And the coolest thing, the day that we're recording this, my episode that I recorded on her podcast dropped today. And so I feel like it's just fate that she's here talking with me. I have the Amy Porterfield on the Launch Your Box podcast today. Amy, welcome to the show. I don't know who doesn't know you at this point, but just in case there is somebody out there that doesn't know who Amy Porterfield is, why don't you give me a quick intro on who you are and what you do? And then I want to jump into your journey.
Okay. Well, Sarah, I love being here. And I just got to say that your episode has already been a huge hit on my podcast. People love it because it's so detailed. So thank you so much for doing that. But I always say I'm an accidental or a ex-corporate girl turned accidental entrepreneur. I didn't grow up thinking I wanted to build my own business. I really never knew anything about entrepreneurship. However, about 16 years ago, I left my very last corporate job working with Tony Robbins. I was the director of content development, and I went out on my own to build my own business. And the reason that happened is while I was working with Tony, he started getting into digital courses and more online marketing. And I got to sit in those meetings. I took notes for the record, but I got to sit in those meetings and hear what everyone was doing. And I'm like, I want a piece of that. I don't know what they're doing, but I got to figure it out.
Yeah.
So I went out on my own and started teaching social media in the beginning and started creating digital courses to teach social media. And what I realized is I was really good at creating courses and doing webinars and selling the courses. And people started asking, how are you doing that? They were less interested in me teaching social media, more interested in what are you doing with courses? So I created a course to teach it's very meta, how to sell and create courses. And it became my whole personality, my whole identity. And so since 2019, I have launched a program called Digital Course Academy, how to create and launch your profitable digital course, and really have been known for that. So it's been an amazing experience, past my wildest dreams, but I have loved every single minute of it.
I feel like we have this similar story because we just did something and then people started asking us how we did the thing. Like for me, it was built my subscription box business, right? Like
Yes.
I built a subscription box and then here's the DMs. How do you buy packaging? How do you buy overseas? How do you get bulk buys like this? How do you package all of this? And so for me, it was like, okay, I'm going to be a coach. I'm going to teach people how to do this. It came to both of us, right? You did
Yes.
something, you did it well. And then it was like, okay, this is what I'm going to be known for. And here I am known for helping people start, launch, and grow their subscription boxes. So I just love this. And I just want everyone listening, like, if you've been feeling that pull for someone's asking you how to do something, someone's wanting knowledge from you, I want you to listen to that. And I want you to lean into that because you're hearing two super successful women who just listened to that and went all in with it. And that's essentially what we're known for. And we've been known for that for a while now. So how has that shifted into now? We're still all in DCA?
Okay, so I love that you asked that question because Sarah, this is the first time I've ever talked about it in this way.
Okay, I've got an Amy Porterfield exclusive,
Yes.
y'all.
So we just launched Digital Course Academy, huge success, beautiful new students in the program. So we're actively in the program with them. However, it may be the very last time, I'm not exactly sure, that we launch Digital Course Academy, because for the last 6 months, I've been working on a high-end coaching program for female entrepreneurs. And my passion is to help more women grow the businesses they already have. And so you've started a business, and we all know, Sarah, in the first few months, everything, or years, everything's a little messy, a little chaotic. We're making money, we're doing the thing, but oh my gosh, it's a lot. I want to work with women at that stage, helping them grow that business and get a really strong foundation and make more money. And so my new coaching program launches in January. So it's an elevation for where I've been. But you said something that I loved. You and I have been known for something.
Mhm.
You subscription boxes, me digital courses. And I wouldn't have the opportunity to teach women at a bigger level that I plan to do if I didn't set that foundation. Being known for something is a big deal. It puts you on the map. It opens doors for you. It allows you to have consistent revenue. So I'm so grateful for the time I've had. And I've been at it so long that I'm ready to take things to the next level. So I appreciate you asking. It's a very exciting time for me.
I love it. You said you started Digital Course Academy in 2019. And I was thinking about back on my journey with you, started in 2019. And you don't know this because I'm a stalker and I've just been stalking you for the last 6 years. But I took DCA in 2019. And you were recommended to me. I was in Stu McLaren's mastermind, still am.
Yeah.
I'm a long time. I'm
Love
a lifetime.
you.
And he said, I think you need to, this is when this pool started coming for me. Can you teach me this? Can you teach me this? And he said, I think you need a course. And I was like, I don't have time for this. He's like, I got you. Amy's got this amazing course on how to do a course. And so I sat down, I made a DCA notebook. I was learning, I was like building a course. And I got done with DCA and I decided, I'm going to make this a membership.
I was going to say, wait a second, because where's the course?
Yeah.
Okay, now it's all making sense.
The course is inside the membership.
I
It
love
is
this.
the core of Launch Your Box. And I built that by taking DCA back in 2019.
I did not know this. That is so cool, Sarah. I had no idea.
I launched Launch Your Box with 19 members, and within a year, I had over 1,400 within 12 months. And it was a way for me. I was building the content, but here's why I made it a membership instead of a course. I didn't have it all together to sell it. So I thought, I'm going to drip it out in a membership. I've got the plan. I've got the layout. I just have to start recording the content. And so that's why I ended up, it just felt easier instead of pricing it high and selling it as a high course. Let me sell it at that time for $57 and I'll make it as I go. I'll build the plane as I fly. And within that year, it was all built out and I'm adding to it all the time. It's still a part of our membership. We've re-recorded everything multiple times at this point. But that is when you first came into my world. And I'm so grateful for that. And then back in 2022, you came to a mastermind that Stu was hosting. I think it was in Nashville. And you came and visited. And at that time, you just started doubling your podcast episodes. And I'm like, oh, I need to do that too. And I was just, you were talking about your book. I don't know, the book wasn't coming yet, but you were talking about the podcast. Anyway, and so that was the first time I met you and I talked to you. And then I've seen you twice this year. Yep. So it's been really great. I saw you in March out at Nashville when you and Stu hosted your little small event. I loved that.
Fun.
And then I just saw you in California with Jasmine's mastermind. So
cool.
And this was like, okay, I'm asking her. I'm going to ask her. I've been stalking her since 2019. I'm going to ask her to be on my podcast.
Easy yes for sure.
And what the fun thing is like you asked me before I had a chance to ask you.
That's so true. I'm like, can you come on my podcast and talk about Coaching Week? Because I'm fascinated with it.
Yes. And so that was just a little history. You don't know it, but I've been around you since 2000.
I did not know this. So it's so cool. I remember, I have to say one more thing. When you and I got to spend some time at the charity event Stu and I did, the mastermind, I left there like, who is that girl? Because we were in a group and you were giving the best advice out of the whole group. And I'm like, I need to know more about what you do. And I had heard about you. So once you told me, I was like, oh yeah, I know all about you because Stu brags about you all the time.
Yeah, I love him. Yes. Okay, so let's get into the meat of our episode today because I just definitely want to leave them with some actual. I
Yeah,
mean, we could talk all day and have
we
fun,
could,
and
we
they would
could.
love that. But let's give them a little bit of meat in here. So you're known for DCA, but you're also really known for list building,
Yes.
right? And so a lot of my audience feels like they need a bigger following, they need a bigger list before they start showing up in the inboxes. So they're on this perpetual, I need to build my list before I actually show up in the inbox. Talk to me about that and what you would say to them.
I would say that if you have one person on your email list, you should be emailing your list. And
Okay.
we have to remember that on the other side of that opt-in, that name and email, is a human being looking for guidance from you. They wouldn't have signed up for your freebie or anything like that if they didn't want that. And so we've got to treat everybody as though our list is 500,000 people. But let me back up just a little bit. So I always say that if you are growing a social media following, you got Instagram, you've got TikTok, LinkedIn, whatever you're doing, Facebook, you are building a business on rented land
Mhm.
if you are not also building an email list. Mark Zuckerberg could change that algorithm and boom, what was working for you is not working any longer. And you and I have been around long enough to know that has happened, you
Yeah.
know? And so I always say, I love social media. Use social media as a way to grow your email list. With growing your email list, it should be something you do in your business at all times. Once you get everything set up, it could run in the background. Like Sarah, you didn't wake up this morning and say, I need to grow an email list, right? It's
Right.
just happening. You've got new people on your email list today,
Yeah.
but because you've got the engine running, and that can happen for anyone listening. You just got to put in the initial work. But also, emailing your list every week, building that engagement, getting used to emailing, writing stories, giving value. That's where you create customers for life. My dad, when I quit my Tony Robbins job, was very nervous. I was leaving a corporate job to do God knows what. I think he was very confused. And I said, Dad, as long as I have an email list, I will always be able to make money. He doesn't understand email lists or online marketing, but every time I see him, how's your email list
Oh
going?
my gosh, that's so great. I
That's
love
the only
that.
thing he knows. And I'm like, it's solid. And he's like, okay, good. An email list will make you money over and over again, but you've got to put the initial work to get it going.
So how do I make that shift? If
Yeah.
I'm listening right now and I'm great at Instagram, I've got Facebook nailed, how do I make that shift when it comes, what do I need to do when it comes to growing my email list?
Yes. So the first thing you want to do is get clear on who you want to serve and what you want to teach them. And you don't have to be crystal clear on everything. You don't have to have a business plan. You don't have to be selling anything yet. But who do you want to serve and how do you want to serve them? Once you know that, you're going to create a lead magnet, a freebie, a checklist, a cheat sheet, a guide, whatever it might be, but something of value that people are willing to give their name and email, a hot commodity, up in order to get your freebie. Do you recommend in your world a certain email service provider that you like to use?
Yes.
What do you
So
recommend?
for e-com businesses, we recommend Klaviyo.
Perfect. Klaviyo
Mhm,
is great.
mhm.
So you sign up with Klaviyo, get it started. Even if you're like, I have no idea what I'm doing, clarity only comes with action. So
There you go.
action creates clarity. Let's get it set up. Let's get that freebie out there. And then you're going to use social media. And every single week, I want you to find a new way to talk about this lead magnet. It might be a reel or a carousel or a talking head video, whatever it might be, but we need to encourage people to sign up for it. And here's the ticket. Mentioning it once or twice a month will never work. I don't care if they've heard it 7 times, they likely need to hear it 10 before they're ever going to sign up. So tell people about it in different ways. And if you get interviewed on a podcast like this, ask the host at the end, can I mention that I've got this free guide? It would be valuable for your audience. Find ways to get it out there.
Okay, I love that. So now, okay, I understand, Amy. I'm going to go build my list. I've got my Klaviyo embed form. I'm putting it on my landing page. They know how to do that. But how do you keep showing up in
Mm.
email when
Mm.
you feel like no one's clicking, no one's opening, no one's reading? How do you stay consistent with that?
Okay. So the first thing, that's a great word, the consistency. One of the hardest things for us entrepreneurs is to stay consistent because there's a million things we should stay consistent with. But if you choose one, please let it be your email list. So the first thing is you're going to commit, come rain or shine, I'm going to make this up, every Tuesday at 10 a.m. an email is going out. It's your newsletter. And my newsletter is super simple. Every Tuesday morning, I tell a story. I write a story in the beginning, and then I share 2 articles I think my audience would find valuable about marketing. Then I teach something really quickly, and then I tell a quick little story, usually about my husband, because he gets all the attention for some reason and he's not even online. And so, but every week, that's what I do. I have a format.
Okay, give me that 4-part format again.
Yes. Okay. So I tell a story.
Okay.
And then I share 2 articles I think my audience would find valuable that they can link to, or a YouTube video or something cool.
Is it your content or somebody else's?
No, it's somebody else's.
Okay.
Yeah. It's just like, here's what you missed last week kind of stuff. Or I curated this so you don't have to, that kind of thing. It might be on, in my world, AI, how to build a YouTube channel, how to do Substack, stuff like that.
Okay.
And then the third section I always teach, and it's something simple like, I teach courses. So how to choose your bonuses for a course launch,
right,
or how to choose your course topic if you've never created a course, those kind of things.
Okay.
But they're just really quick. And I use AI to make it compact because I like to talk, but it always comes from me. And then the fourth section is something personal. Like last week, I'm on this new health journey and there's 3 things I love: the Fitness Pal, this thing I put on my treadmill, like little Amazon things. And I shared it all. People like just to go behind the scenes with you, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And that is all. And then I do a PS to my podcast. So that's the only way. I just mentioned my podcast in the PS. Hey, I've got a new episode. So yesterday was all about your episode. So that's what I do. And that's the same format every week. And every Monday, I spend 2 hours writing it. I give myself 2 hours so I'm not rushed. I write it, I proof it, done. And that's all I do. But it is a consistent habit. I don't look how many people read it, or I do, but I don't worry about that when I'm writing it. I just write it for value. And so that is my rhythm. Every Monday, I write for the next week, and it's just rain or shine.
Okay.
Now, the thing is, how do you get those emails open? How do you get people to pay attention? The first thing is a subject line is everything. And I've got a very cool free tool. It's called subjectline.com. My good friend Jay Schwedelson owns this site. He is an email marketing expert. So anyone listening that you're like, I need email marketing tips so I can start growing my email list, Jay's the guy. So he's got this great podcast, but also subjectline.com. It's free. You put your subject line and they give you a grade and they give you suggestions for it to be better.
Oh, good.
And so you can make it better, put it back in, get more feedback. It's so good. So let's focus on those subject lines.
Okay.
And then it just comes to consistency. You've got to just keep doing this and getting in front of them, and they will start to make it a habit to open up your newsletter if you put that heart and soul into it.
So what I'm hearing you say is you're not selling a thing in this email.
Correct.
And so I want to kind of break it down for my subscription box owners. So say you have a pet subscription. And so if we were going to use this format, what was the first one? I've already forgotten.
My story, like a fun story that somehow relates back to them.
Okay. So we can tell a fun story about some customer's pet or some toy that came in a box that somebody loved and whatever. Something like that. So that could be the story.
Yep.
Then we're going to maybe link to an article about how often you should wash your pet bed.
Yes.
Or something like that. Right. So we're going to link to somebody else's content, and then I'm going to serve them in section 3. So this could be how often you should brush your dog's teeth, or how often, like, I don't know, whatever that would serve your audience of buyers. They have pets. If you have a dog box, talk about dogs. If you have a guinea pig box, talk about the guinea pigs. You got a bunny box, talk about the bunnies. How can you serve them? How can you teach them something that they may not know or they may need to be reminded of?
Yes.
And then the fourth section
is fun. And for this example, just post a picture of one of your clients' dogs and just what's its name and what does it love to do? Like, people just want some fun stuff. Let them into your world a little.
I feel like there's so much fun stuff with animals. Like, this is
a given. That's so fair. Like, that's really fun. Yes.
It's really fun. But I think, and P.S., here's my freebie on 10 activities that you can do with your dog every week. And then you're building your list. They're already on your list because you're emailing them, but you're
Oh,
connecting with them. Oh, tell me.
yeah, that reminds me though. So on social, you can create a really simple page about why your newsletter is so valuable and it becomes a list builder. So
Okay.
I've got a page where it's just sign up for my newsletter. Here's why. So
Okay.
something super simple. So you do want to advertise your newsletter as well.
So I do something like this in my e-commerce business. So it's called my hot mess email, and it comes out on Sundays. And I have a
Loving.
3-part format. So let me just share that with them too. So the first, well, it's a 4-part, I guess. The first one's just a little tiny. It's an inspirational thing. It's usually tied to the story. So I usually write part 2, part 3, part 4, and then I come back and write part 1 and kind of tie it together.
Nice.
So like this week, I'm talking about I'm in launch mode. I have been sick. I've been running ragged, and I'm telling stories about how we can do all the things for everybody in our life because we're moms and we rarely take time for ourselves. And there's pictures of my dog has a toy in his mouth and he wants to play, and I just want to sit. So there's stuff like that, and I'm planning for my wedding, so that's kind of in there too. So part 2 is what's happening with me. What's my hot mess week look like for
Okay.
me? And so I usually put a picture of something I'm talking about. It was my dog with his little toy sitting right at my feet when I'm trying to relax. And then part 3 then is what's happening at our warehouse. So I do like a behind the scenes, like this week we're prepping monograms for the monogram box for October. And I gave a little blurred out sneak peek of all these things on the table so they can't see them, but now they wonder.
Oh,
So
I like it.
that was part 3. Part 4, I do one little sales thing. So it ties into 1, 2, or 3. And it was like, hey, I'm going to do $20 Tuesday on Tuesday, but if you're reading this email, you can shop first.
Okay,
And
so I like this because remember you said I don't sell, but if I'm in a promo, I'll mention it for sure.
yeah,
So yeah.
yeah. So I just did, hey, $20. This is what we're doing for $20 Tuesday. But because you're reading my email on Sunday, you can shop before everybody else
So
gets to.
good.
And then I go back, and the inspirational topic is really for women because that's my audience. And it's like, hey, we can feel like we have life all together. The minute you get sick, everything shuts down. You're trying to take care of yourself and everybody else. So it's kind of just a little, I see you kind of moment because that's who my person is. And it's like all the fun hot mess. Like I'm a hot mess all the time. And so that's why we call it the hot mess newsletter. And we use little Bitmojis as our graphic at the top, and it's like me with coffee spilling out, and I'm wearing a sweater and I'm sweating because it's a Texas and it's still 90 degrees, but we have something every week. And so I think that this is such a good strategy for everyone to do. Pick a day that this goes out. Amy is Tuesdays, me it's Sundays. Pick a day and just create a template. I feel like when we can create a system or a process behind something, we're more likely to do it. If I have to sit down and figure out what this looks like every week, I'm less likely to do it, right?
So true. Templatize as much as you can, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. So you talked a little bit about storytelling, and we kind of did that with our examples here. I have noticed maybe over the last 6 months or year, your content has gone more towards storytelling.
You're good, my friend. You're so very right.
Okay.
Yes.
Talk to me about that and talk to me about why.
Okay. So, first of all, I have always told myself I am not a good storyteller because I am a people pleaser. I try not to be, but when I tell a story, I want to get to the end really fast because I don't want to take up too much time or I don't want to bother you with all the details. So I'm a terrible storyteller. However, I have been so drawn to people that tell stories through their social media, through their newsletters. I love a good story. And so I thought, really this year specifically, I'm going to force myself to learn to tell great stories. And one of the best ways to do that is when you have a newsletter every week where you always start with a story. I have no exception. Now, I will say this morning I woke up to write because I was a few days late. I could not think of a story. So sometimes it's hard for me. I'll figure it out. But I wanted to let people in a personal way. And for me personally, Sarah, I've heard many times, I come from corporate. I've always kind of been buttoned up, that people sometimes feel like it's hard to get to know me. We have a mutual friend, Jasmine Starr. She likes to tell me this a lot. Like, you need to let down your defenses. You need to let people in. And I'm thinking, I am, but I guess I wasn't. But now when I tell stories in my newsletter about one time I found my mom's underwear in my sweatshirt when I got to school, or times when my husband and I had to do couples counseling because I overheard him talking about me, like stuff that I normally would never tell anyone.
Right.
I just started to tell people to say, like, I swear I'm just like you. I'm a hot mess in so many places. And that connection has been real. So that's why I wanted to storytell. I wanted to have a real connection with people. There's so many times I could say, here's 5 steps to this and 3 tips to that. And I'm a queen of that. I'm known for that. But there is such a barrier up. And after COVID, when people wanted connection, and now with the world being so weird, we just want to know that we know someone and they see us. Storytelling allows people to see me and allows people to know I see them in my own stories. And so I just wanted a deeper connection. And I had to put down the wall that I didn't even know was up, and storytelling absolutely busts through that wall.
So are you taking the content you're using on social media? Is that becoming email content too?
That's such a great question. If something does well on social media, we will turn that into a story potentially. Or if a story does well in a newsletter and we get a lot of like replies back, we'll turn that story into a social media carousel on IG. So I'm all for repurposing.
You're just testing it both ways, right?
Yes, for sure.
Okay, so my next kind of topic would be, okay, I understand I've got to build an email list. Sarah and Amy, I'm listening to you. I understand that I need to get a little more personal. I need to tell stories. I need to connect with people. How does my email person then become a buyer for my business?
Ooh, I love this question. So how do you turn an email subscriber into a buyer?
Yeah.
Well, one, it goes back to that building trust, first of all. That's where storytelling also comes in. If you still tell your stories and let people into your world, trust starts to build, and no one's going to buy from you if they don't trust you. So that buying happens months before they get on your email list. They start hearing from you on a regular basis. You're giving value, you're letting them in. All of that is so incredibly important. And then once you've nurtured, whether it be 60 days, 30 days, there's no magic numbers, just really good staying in touch and nurturing. When you are ready to turn them into a buyer, your world might be a little bit different. For my world, just sending a few emails saying buy this tends not to work, but my programs are like $2,000. For your world, for your audience, Sarah, you know more. Could it be a series of emails where you're inviting them to buy now?
Okay.
Could it be?
Yeah, of course.
Okay.
And I'd probably start with a lower product. So like
Okay.
instead of my $84 subscription box, I might start with my $20 t-shirt club. And so that's like the lead in. Then they're going to get their t-shirt. They're going to love it. They're going to get the next one the next month. And the goal is then to upgrade them into the $84 monthly box, right?
Got it. Okay. So this is where really good email copy comes into play. And never before until like last year could I say ChatGPT or any AI tool, if you train it on who you are and who your audience is, creating these emails become a whole lot easier. Sarah and I have had to do it ourselves for many, many years. Now, right? Now you've got these incredible tools to help you. But just remember, number one email is not enough. When you're promoting something, it is a series of emails. 2, even in promotional emails, tell stories, use images, let your personality shine through, and just know it's going to take more than one ask in order to get people to pay attention. But yeah, once you nurture, once you connect, once you build that trust, you'll be able to use your email to promote whatever you want to promote.
I've got another question for you because this came up while I was hosting Subscription Box Week last week. I was interviewing one of my students, and she's great. She's been on the Christmas Cookie Challenge. She has a cookie cutter box. She has about 350 subscribers.
Great.
And she said, I have been collecting an email for years. I've been collecting email addresses for years.
I know it's coming.
And I have not sent one
Ah!
email.
I mean, come on. I wonder why. Did she say why?
She doesn't know what to say.
Oh, okay. Let's talk about that. Can we
Let's
talk
do.
about that? Okay.
Please.
So this happens actually with a lot of my students. I just don't know what to email. I don't know what to say. So that's why coming back to what if you did a weekly email with a template? Because when I sat down to write my newsletter, I couldn't think of my story, but I did fill in the links to the articles. I did teach something really quick. I did tell a funny story, like do the fun part at the end. I'll go back and fill in the rest, but at least I was able to get started. So
Yes.
templatize, that way you know what the kind of things you want to say at least.
Mhm.
Number 2, one of the things that could be really valuable is if everyone were to create like a simple Google Doc and do a full-on brain dump of everything that you could talk about. Because I teach people how to create courses, but there's an umbrella of content. Like you said, list building. I teach leadership. I talk about being the breadwinner of my family. I'm a stepmom, so that's another pillar of content. I'm obsessed with my dog Scout. So I've got these pillars that I can talk about and pull from at any time. It's
Yeah.
not just one topic. And so, like the woman that has the subscription box for your pets, she might think, well, it's just for dogs and that's all I could talk about. And no, there's just so many other fun things that could go under that umbrella. So start creating your content pillars and pulling from that. But that one woman you mentioned, if she had a template and she knew every Tuesday her email went out, I promise it's so much easier.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking of like I could totally brainstorm content for her. One, she's got a new set of cookie cutters every month. So she could talk about she decorates them. She teaches them how to decorate them every month.
Okay,
So
that's cool.
every month you have something new to show them. Then there's all the behind the scenes. What's cool about my interview with her is she does all of this in the basement of her house, all
Okay,
of the
love
subscriptions.
that.
And she prints all the cookie cutters on a 3D printer. Let's talk about behind the scenes. Let's do a picture of you walking all those stacks of boxes up the stairs again.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. Here's the other thing. She's older. She's in her 50s and she built this business to help pay for her kids' college. And her subscription box has paid 100% of her kids' college. And if that's not a connection that makes you want to buy her box, like that, you know what I'm saying?
Agree.
Yes.
That's exactly the kind of stuff that you can include in
Mhm.
your weekly newsletter. And pictures take up a lot of space, so you get to write less.
Yes. And let's throw back to last year when I was on the Christmas cookie challenge. I got second place, but
What?
go watch my episode. She could do so many of these things, but we don't think about it because we don't like to talk about ourselves.
Mhm.
We think it doesn't matter. We think it's insignificant. We think nobody cares, but that's exactly what they care about,
They
right?
do. Absolutely. That's funny you said so. I think maybe one of the reasons I didn't tell stories more is I don't want to talk about myself over and over again.
Yeah.
But when I realized my story, they're going to see themselves through it, that's when I was able to do it better.
Yes. What would you say before we wrap this all up into a nice little bow? I know there's somebody listening right now that maybe says they have 50 or 100 email subscribers, and maybe they've been stuck there for a while. What would you say to them that it's for them to know it's worth it to keep going? And what's the next step to keep going?
Mm. Okay. So the first thing is that you want a thriving business. The people that are listening right now, the women listening, you want a thriving business. And I can promise you a very engaged email is your ticket to a very thriving business. There is a direct correlation with your email list and your revenue. And so get clear on why did you start this business? Why do you want this subscription box? Why do you want to do what you do? And you have to say, wait a second, my email list will help me reach those goals. So you've got to understand, first of all, how powerful an email list is. The second thing is your next best move. You have 100 people on your email list. It's taking forever to grow it. Nothing's working. I would love to see you go back and do one of two things. One, create a fresh new lead magnet you're excited about, that you want to talk about, that you'd be excited to create some social media around. Let's breathe a little new life in here.
Yeah.
Now, if you've been at this for a little while and this won't freak you out, look into creating a quiz. A quiz is a great list builder. You could have fun with it. Like, what does your favorite cookie cutter say about your personality. Like it could be fun like that. Things about animals or whatever you do. So create a quiz that people would have a fun time filling out. And then from there, people love to fill out a quiz, give you their name and email to get the results. So that is like a really easy way to grow an email list. Creating a quiz is a little tricky. ChatGPT will walk you all the way through it.
I love that. I've thought about a quiz forever. It's just always on the back burner because I have
Yeah.
a million things to do.
Right.
But mine was like, what does your monogram say about you?
Okay, right there. Yes, yes, yes. It's just fun stuff. We love to learn about ourselves, whether it be silly or serious. So exactly.
Yeah, like what's your monogram style? Because we have like the swirly monogram, or we have more of a rigid monogram, or stuff like that.
It's about your personality for sure.
Yes, for sure. If you and I both have this sense of you got to start while it's messy. You got to start before it's ready. Can you share a time where you felt like you were scared to start, but you did it anyway?
Oh, yes, like a million times. But I will say, the first time I did a webinar on my own, I was terrified.
Same.
Uh, it's the scary thing, right? I remember my best friend Gigi came over and literally sat almost on my lap, just next to me with her laptop. I just needed to make sure whatever I was doing on mine, they could see her, right? They could hear me. I was just so clueless. And I was terrified to do this webinar. And I will tell you, it went terrible. I forgot I was selling something and I forgot the URL at the end. I couldn't tell them where to go. I said, I'll have to email all of you. Like it was such a disaster. But I will tell you, Sarah, 16 years later, I built a $120 million business on the back of webinars. I just did 6 webinars in a row last week. Like webinars are fueling my business to this day. If I didn't let it be messy, if I didn't look like a fool on that first one, I'd never be sitting here with you today encouraging other women to get started. And so everything I do, I'm uncomfortable, quite honestly. But one thing I did learn from Tony Robbins is the only way to grow is to be willing to get uncomfortable on a regular basis. So here we are. And I think you feel the same way. You're doing big things in your life right now. It's scary, but it's so worth it.
Yeah, you've got to start. You've got to get it out there in order to improve it. And I think that's where most people feel stuck, is that they want it to be perfect before they lob it out in the world. It's never going to be perfect.
Never.
So you have to do it messy. I remember my first Facebook Live. It was awful. I deleted it as soon as I got done. But you have to do it, or there's never going to be that first time to improve on, right?
So true.
Yeah.
Amen to that.
Amy Porterfield, it has been so good talking to you. This is my favorite episode of all time.
I love it, Sarah. I'm just getting to know you more. I'm just such a fan, and I'm so glad we have a new friendship like this. And I'm really just love the community you've built. So thank you for inviting me here.
Thank you so much. How can my listeners check you out? Like, where would you want them to go?
So I have a podcast called The Amy Porterfield Show, and we talk all about female entrepreneurship and building businesses and list building and everything in between. So I would love your listeners to check that out.
Okay, go over and check out the Amy Porterfield Show. It got a new name this year too.
It did.
Right?
It used to be called the Online Marketing Made Easy, but as I'm transitioning into helping more women build businesses, we had to make a shift.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, my friend.
We'll be back next week with another great episode.